this segment is going to be about my own people. I'm going to give a rundown of everything I know. If anybody ever hears this and they want to correct me, they can. But mostly I'm going to give a rundown about relationships with mothers, relationship with, I can't say really fathers. I can give advice on stepfathers. I can talk about sibling relationships, like basically give a rundown about my whole entire culture, the things they do wrong, and things that I appreciate. So to begin, I just want to say that I want to start by talking about me and my mom's relationship. And this is relationships with daughters and mothers with their daughters in general. And I feel like maybe I don't want to take away the fact that some daughters have had great relationship with their mom. But let me start by talking about mine. My mom grew up in a very abusive household. She grew up in the war. She grew up without a mom. She grew up without a dad. She was a kid when her parents died, so she was an orphan. Her extended family, I would say, her little cousins and aunts and stuff didn't really take care of her as much as she needed to be. She was abused a lot. She was left for hunger. She was beaten. She was forced to marry my dad. My dad was abusive. So she had the whole traumatic life experience. And her biggest wish, as she said, was, I told God that I wanted my own family. So she got married and she had us. But she didn't know that my father was abusive, was going to be abusive. I just like to say I have no hate for my father. I basically already went through all the phases I need to go through to dim down the hate, because I never knew him enough for me to have such hatred. So I just kind of like left it to God, because that's between him, God. Him and mom's relationship is between them and God. But I do have empathy and I do feel for my mother. So when she got remarried and stuff, she never knew that I was ever experiencing abuse, because I never knew the words to even explain what abuse was. I never knew how to even really talk out loud, so I didn't really say much. I did not grow up like liking boys. I didn't grow up chasing love. I was the kind of kid who was like super close to their mother, like super close, really close. I was quiet, but I always was on the side of my mom, and she's all I knew. But I think I started to resent her at early ages when she would call me names, and I feel like the other kids in the house probably took that from her. I remember I got called animal names, and I used to cry about it. I got made fun of for my weight as a young kid. Like, I was chunky, but she used to tell me, like, you're chunky, no one's gonna like you. One day you're gonna fall in love and not like your body. And I wasn't even thinking about love at that time, but it was embedded in my head then. Like, it was like, what does she even mean? Something about a guy and me falling for them and not liking myself. Certain things I do not remember because of how traumatic my childhood was. I wish that I knew a lot, but I didn't. And thinking back then, I did have a lot of mental health problems to be exact. I had undiagnosed problems. I'm thinking that's what affected me not to really speak as much as I do now. When I was becoming like into my teenage years, I didn't understand anything about life. I only knew my mom and the home. I didn't know the outside life. All I knew is that I wanted to get out and just experience life. But I couldn't do that. Whenever I tried to go outside, I would get called names. Whenever I went to school, stayed after school, I got called names by my mother, of course. People made up rumors about me. I just kind of ate myself up. When I was 14, the arranged marriage thing happened. I mean, I could have said no, everything would be fine, but it's the amount of abuse I endured that made me want to just go along with it. So I did. I said, "Yep, deuces." um, I didn't know whether or not I was gonna be happy. All I knew is that I didn't want to be home anymore, and I would rather go somewhere where I would technically be happy. When I was married, I would say that me and her's relationship was kind of okay. She checked up or whatever. And then when I did come back, she tried to have authority over me, what I did, who I was with. And mind you, I wasn't really doing anything outside. If I did go outside, again, the weirdness I had as a child still kind of lingered. The quietness and not really messing with people, that kind of existed within me. I struggled making friends. I was always trying to be happy and be enthusiastic around other kids, like maybe my age, like 16, 17, 18. But I never really got along with them. People looked at me weird. I was always name called. People always assumed, oh, Nina's weird, Nina's this, Nina's that. And I never understood why they did it then. Like, I always just tell myself, like, I'm nice. I do this and that. I spend money on people. I like to hang. But I always remained, I was the weird child. I was the weird girl. I was the weird kid. And then when I came back to my mom's house, I was treated horribly. People would talk about me. People would spread rumors about me. Whenever I spoke, people found it funny, and I just basically didn't matter. And again, even though I was married and of course divorced, I still got talked about. My mama still called me a whore, a bitch, this and that. She basically broke my spirit, and I never understood. So the resentment towards her grew even stronger. Like it was a fight with her, like not like physical, but I decided I had enough. And I wouldn't take this anger out on people in public per se. I would take my anger out on my mom. Like as soon as my mom says anything negative about me, it was war. The amount of times we went at it, like if she seen me, I don't want to get into too details because I don't want people really involved into what went wrong with my mama. But at the same time, I'm trying to be authentic so people understand what it is that I went through and how I got out of it. I'll give you a great example. My stepfather to me, he loved to instigate between me and my mom. And I feel like my mom just kind of followed everything he said. My mom used to say, like, I do drugs when I never touched drugs in my life. Whenever I hung out with anybody, you should assume that I'm sleeping with somebody. And it was the worst feeling in the world. The name calling never stopped. And whenever, like, I feel a lot of anger towards the things that are being said about me, I would literally sit there and talk back. She would claim I'm not a Muslim. Like, I would mind my own business. And she was like, you're Christian, huh? You went to the church and converted, huh? You're effing a Christian man, huh? Like, she'll just go at it on a daily basis. It never stops. It's just like, and it's to the point where I had once told her man, my stepfather, would go out in public and talk about me, and other people would tell me. And the thing is, I believed him because it's something he does on a regular basis. He would go to the neighbors. He would go to my cousins' houses. He would go to my cousins. It doesn't matter who it is. My stepfather always got my name in his mouth, and he never realized how he affected my mental health so badly. Like I'm saying, like my mental health was so bad to the point where I remember in high school I was sitting down, like I feel like I was hearing voices in my head, and I dug down into my desk and I was just holding, like I had my hands on my head, and I just couldn't deal with how much is going on in my head. And my anger towards my stepdad got so high at some point where I was writing away. I literally wrote a plan to end him, to literally off him. Like it was a detailed note about how I wanted to end him. by raising me only to be somebody's wife, cook, clean, take care of kids. That's all she taught me. These life lessons just to be somebody's wife. Nothing prepared me for the actual real world. Like, she only wanted me to like be somebody's wife so that I could raise somebody's kids, so that she could tell me to have patience and stuff, but I didn't get beaten in a relationship or something. That was basically the plan, because that's the plan that they made for her. At this time, I didn't know this. This took years for me to learn. So, my stepdad situation, fast forward again from my high school to the point where things were getting pretty bad again, and I'm sick and tired of the forgiveness thing and forgetting thing. And he had said something what he did was he took my personal diary that I write everything in. He literally dug through my bag, took my diary, and gave it to my sister. At that time, we had a store. He took the diary to my little sister, and she was like, I'm not reading that. And then he was like, then he gave it to his older daughter to read. And she read that. Until this day, I don't know what pages she read. I don't know what she told. And for me, that was private. It was privacy. And he overstepped his boundaries, and I got so angry one time. And then at some point, he like told my little sister, oh, your sister is a dog. She doesn't respect your mom. My little sister told me, she was like, hey, this is what I said about you. Me being me, I got angry, and it was Ramadan. I cooked the Ramadan meal, and I waited for mom to come home from work. And I told her, I'm gonna tell you this one time and one time only, and I want you to explain. I want you to translate, because me and our stepdad, we speak different languages. So I was like, I want you to translate and tell your man to leave me alone. I am not his daughter. So therefore, he should step out of my effing life. He should stop talking crap about me. And I remember that day, my mother got so angry at me because I stood up to her. She threw all the food that I cooked during the Ramadan away. She threw it all away. I was like, damn. Again, I don't speak. I kind of like went to hang out with cousins to like basically cool myself off. And again, another incident happens where my stepdad says something to somebody, and that person comes straight to me, and they're like, hey, your stepdad was at our house, and he said this, this, and this. And I literally got angry again. I told my mom, you never stand up for me. Now I'm going to need you to tell your man to leave me the F alone. And my mama, being her, she was like, oh, you're just jealous because he sleeps with me. And I was like, damn. I bawled my eyes out once again. Like, I kept feeling lonelier and lonelier and lonelier, and I kept hating my life even more, because there's no escape, because I don't have the social skills to really handle life outside, and I don't got family that actually shows me genuine love. I don't got a father I can run to and be like, I don't like being around my mom. My sisters, they're married and they're dealing with their own life issues. They got their own things going on. So in the end, it was kind of like just me. I would find myself crying like almost all the time because I lacked the social skills to do certain things. And it was then eventually I got remarried. Again, this time is something that I chose. I'm not going to talk about the certain marriage. I'll talk about it later. I think I did talk about it before. No, I think I talked bits about it. But I'm not going to get into that second marriage right now. I think I'll talk about it later. But after getting remarried, I came back to my state. And again, it's like me and my mom will go at it again. And the thing about me is that I always knew, like, I couldn't leave her alone, and she most certainly could never leave me alone or leave me stranded. So we're always meant to fight. Her trauma and my trauma, it wasn't something to really play about. But I think that I feel like God planted me into her life because she needed to heal. And God knew that I would be able to be the person to help her heal. that's how bad our fights were. Like, it was never physical, it was words. And my mom could tell you that's something she repeats every day. She said, none of my kids be hurting me with their words more than you do. None of my kids be dragging me the way you do. And like, she just basically is in shock that a child could literally stand up to her that much and say so much to the point where she's able to say something that could actually break her. And I feel like that was me. I said so many things that could basically break Mama apart the same way she broke me apart. And I really like stressed her out. We literally go back and forth all the time. And it's saddening that she was traumatized so much that she is unable to raise a daughter a certain way. It's not even that. It's not only that. It's that she grew up in a certain way, and I grew up in a certain way. Hers in Africa in the war, mine is America, the American system with an African parent who experienced certain things. We were always battling each other. For me, it was like, no, you cannot raise me a certain way. She's like, yes, I can raise you the way I was raised. So it was never really gonna work. And in the end, I want to say that I won. I won the fight. I won the fight because I refused to bow down to her. I refused to let her run me like a dog. Like, I refused. I have given her apologies for certain things that I've said to her, and I would say it's an apology. She accepted, like, she has done wrong in her life too. She accepted it. She was like, well, I did this because of this, and I said, you should have never done that. The last time we spoke, I told her, like, you think the way that you think the way your family raised you was right, but it's not. They didn't raise you right. That is why you can't raise me right, because they effed you up. She would be like, no, they didn't. I grew up right. No. You're still growing up on survival mode. You don't know how to handle anything beyond your limits. Like, she don't know how to handle a child that's the American system. She just doesn't. And I try to come to common ground with her that it's impossible because she's a certain way. Her mindset is a certain way. She's built a certain way, and it's like it's traumatic. Like, how do I make it make sense? The reason I'm saying I won is because the same way she raised me, she was gonna use that to raise my little sister and them. And I said, if you think that I am bad, continue to raise these ones the same way you raised me, and you can watch how they go against you. A good example was my youngest sister. She was about maybe 17 right now. My younger sister, my mom thought that she was gonna be like the type of daughter to just obey everything she says. No, she grew up resenting her, and I said, I told you so. And her dad thought she was gonna be like the type of daughter to always be around him, and she grew up resenting him. And I was like, I told you so. You thought that I was the one that's gonna make your daughter turn a certain way, but no, it was your mouth and your way of teaching that turned her the way she is. And then my other younger sister, who is 10, I believe, and her too, the amount of things they call her on a daily basis, mind you, she is 10. These other kids hear how she gets cursed out, how she gets made fun of, and they repeat it to her all the time. It's not just my mom's kids, even people outside attack this 10-year-old little girl, and she doesn't know how to comprehend that. She don't understand why she's being made fun of. She just knows that it's wrong. She don't understand why she deserves it at all. To the point where this one time I was just sitting, vibing on myself in my mom's living room, and my sister comes along talking about, I don't want to live anymore. I want to off myself. And I'm like, wait. Why do you all of a sudden feel like that? And she gave me a rundown of how my mom treats her, how other kids at school treat her, how my siblings treat her. That broke me. That broke my heart. That made me cry hearing that, because I was her age when it first started happening. And to hear that from her broke me, and I literally went at it with my mom again, and I said, you need to stop. You need to stop letting all these other kids come at her like this. You need to stand up for her and stop letting these things keep happening. You did the same thing to me, and now it's repeating back to her. So what if she's chunky? What does it matter? What my mama has said to her was, look at you. You're big as hell. Your body is useless. And if your body is big and useless, then your brain is useless. And other kids picked that up and they repeated it to her that day. And that broke her. So now my mom whispers to her sometimes and says, like, you're beautiful, like maybe 1,000,000 times. She'll whisper that every single day to her ear, like, you are beautiful, I love you, da da da. She changed her ways. Now she treats her with kindness and compassion. Now she treats her way better than she ever did before. Why? Because I stood up and I spoke up and said, this is not how you raise a child. You can't just bring a child into the world and think that it's your maid and that they deserve to be harassed like that. But the same people who claim to love her, that is wrong. So yeah, when I say that I'm proud of myself, I did it. I put up one hell of a fight. I could have possibly ended myself a long time ago, but something within me told me, keep going, you got this. You got a purpose, keep going. And I kept going. I used to be in the bathroom in tears, crying because I want to drown myself and end myself. But there's a voice in my head telling me, keep going, you got this. You have hope, keep going. And I kept going. There are times where I posted online like, I want to end myself, I'm so depressed, da, da, da. But nobody knew how bad my depression was when it came to being raised by a single parent, by a Bantu parent. But I did it. I put up one hell of a fight. I want to thank the people who were kindly there every now and then on social media, who gave me advice, who were telling me that they're there for me. I appreciate those people. They gave me hope. If they weren't there, I don't think I would be here. I want to thank God himself for always putting that voice in my head that I got this. Because now I have... I want to pause for a second. In the beginning, when I first was like... There was this one time where I took a knife and I thought I was ready to go. And something told me that one day my siblings will need me. They will have nobody but me to get them out of places that they don't think they could. And being the second oldest, I knew, like, I had to stay alive. No matter how hard it got, I have to stay alive because I have to make a difference. I can't be gone and then they end up not having a way to break free from the generational karma curse. Like, I'm proud of myself for everything that I've done. And what you can take from me right now about my mother's story, I want to tell you that you have the upper hand. So whomever you are, and you and your mother are going at it, I'm not saying physically abuse your mom, no. Speak up for what is right. Break free from that generational curse. You are not your mother. Once you reach a certain age, you are your own person. You become your own person. They can love and support you from afar, but that doesn't mean that you have to submit to the traumatic things that they do to you. If they love and respect you, sure, be around them. By all means, be around them. But if they bring your spirit down, if they are weaponizing authority, it's your time to let go. Go find yourself. You have one life to live. Do not live it for somebody who doesn't give a damn about you. That is all I can say. Allah sees everything that happens and Allah will help you. Do not, I repeat, do not feel like you are trapped. You are not. There is a way out, and that is choosing yourself. Choose you. If you have siblings, please choose you. They will need you. If your parent lasted that long physically, verbally abusing you, then you know they're about to do it to your siblings too. So choose you. So when your siblings reach a certain age and they need you, they have somebody who understands. That's all I can say for now, for this part. Have a good day. I cannot quite say where my mom was raised, like the cities she's been raised at. But I know that she's been to Somalia in her younger days and Kakuma in her younger days. Her mom is from Tanzania. Half her people is from Tanzania, but they moved down to Somalia. So, my mother's mom died when she was, I believe, 6 months. I will correct this if it ever changes, but I believe it was 6 months her mom passed. She was raised by an auntie and some family members. They treated her horribly. They bossed her around. One of the incidents she likes to repeat was, she has this innocence there saying, like, I never disappointed any of my relatives. She praises it. She feels good about it. It's like they tortured her soul so bad that she thinks her proudest accomplishment was following rules, obeying rules to people who forced her to do things she didn't want to do. That's what she's proud of. I never disappointed my I never disappointed my aunties, never disappointed my uncles. I was a good kid. No, they messed you up. Anyway, one of the things I told her to do would be, like, around, I think maybe 6, they would send her to markets. Like, they would, how African sun is so hot. Someone would, like, spit on the floor and tell her, you have until the spit dries up to bring every product I told you to bring from the street, from the store, which is like, off street market, I think. So she would, it makes me so sad. She would run to the store repeating, damn, I'm gonna cry. I hate this. She would run to the store repeating everything they told her to bring, like a grocery list. She repeated to herself while she runs there to go get this stuff. I know her mama would have never done that to her. But she didn't have one. So anyway, she would run to the store and go grab those things, and they would teach her to cook and make food. I'm trying not to cry. I'm not gonna cry. Okay. And there are times where someone would make food and they would give her the last bit of scraps that was left. She told us that is what she ate in her childhood years, and the other parents would let their kids eat all the good food and she'll get leftovers. Fuck. I'm trying not to cry. Okay. To continue, there was other incidents too in her childhood. That's like, she told me she was going on they went on a trip, which is like a day-long walk.
her auntie grab some food for her kids. And she said she spent hours hungry. She felt weak, but she couldn't ask for anything to eat because she was scared they wouldn't feed her. She said there's a guy that was with them that was like, I know you guys are not about to starve this girl to death. Give her something to eat. It's only then that her aunt tried to give her something to eat. She said, I felt so weak. I felt like I was about to die. I had nothing to eat. It is so sad. I'm trying not to cry. Her father was alive until she was like 12. But he wasn't in her life like that. But she said that that's who she sometimes went to spend her days with. That was her safe haven. That was her safe space to run to her dad. And he had a farm, so she would go to his farm and just kind of go chill over there with him. And then one day she heard that her dad was sick and he was about to pass. And she said that she had went to the prayer place, and she said that she said that she went there and she cried so bad, begging God not to take her father. But she still lost him. So around 12 and 13, not only did she have no mother that can look over her, she had no father that could protect her. I hate talking about my mom's life situation because it plays I can't say so much. But after her father's passing, they tried to arrange her to get married. And my father was a choice for marriage for her. She said she didn't want him at first. Even before he even married her, she said that she used to have uncles that made sexual comments towards her. She said she had a grandfather who told her to open her body parts and also touch his body part. But she said when she tells me this specific story of her grandfather telling her to do a child shouldn't do, she would tell, like, fast forward in the future, she would bring this specific story up and be like, I never once talked back to my people. My own grandfather told me to do things for him and I never did it, but I also never told my grandmother to. He died and she's passed and I never spoke on it. She said that sometimes you have to stay quiet for the benefit of yourself. She also told me a story where she was sleeping over at some relative's house, and their husband told her at a young age, talking about he made a sexual comment. I don't want to go into detail. I don't want to be specific. He made a sexual comment, and she ended up playing it off because she was gonna sleep there. The whole comment has something to do with her. What's gonna happen if she sleeps there? So she made a joke to make an excuse to leave. Then she went to her auntie, and she told her, she was like, "Hey, I was at so and so's house, and their husband was telling me to do this to them." It's not the grandpa story, it's some other relative. And her auntie was like, "He's disrespectful, just come stay here, come sleep over here for the night." And that's what she did. Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure life was harder for her in Africa because it's not like here, so I'm pretty sure it was way rougher. I want to tell this story without crying, and I feel so bad, like, you understand. So, her being an orphan, they arranged her marriage with my dad. I wish I knew my father, because sometimes I want to ask him why he did what he did to my mom when they were married. And I don't hate him, that's the problem. I can't hate him. It's a part of me. I cannot hate who I am. I can't hate what happened, but I cannot hate a part of myself. That's how I feel. My bad, I cried a little bit. I'm doing a whole lot better. I had to calm down a bit. So I'm gonna pause it and get back. So I hope it's not noticeable, but I feel like it probably would be. So every single time I tell her story, I always bawl my eyes out because I am her, she's me. It's like I feel the steps she took. So okay, back to what I was saying. When she got married with my father, it was arranged. She said okay because it was respectful and he paid or whatever. And yeah, she got married. When she first got pregnant, my bad, I was trying to burp. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. When she got pregnant with her first child, she didn't really have anyone. Mind you, she's like 13, 14 maybe, pregnant, ready to pop, and she had no one. She was telling us a story about how she she was telling us how she used to bawl her eyes out in the woods because she's seen how every other girl who got married had their mom with them, feeding them, taking care of them, had husbands that loved them and appreciated them, and she had nothing. I'm gonna bawl my back. I can't even talk right. I'm gonna bawl my eyes out. Like, it's so hard to talk when you're emotional, and I'm not trying to be emotional about it, but it's just how like, you lose your mom, you lose your dad, you get abused mentally, physically. Then you get pregnant, then you're lonely, don't really have anyone. Then you're crying in the woods. The envy, the jealousy that you don't got what other kids got. And then your man starts his abusive thing and you're young. That's a lot on a young woman's shoulders. So I think, okay, so when she was trying to give birth, y'all, she said that she went to go speak to somebody about how she was feeling. I think she was going into labor. And she went to go talk to somebody about it, and they literally told her that they couldn't help her. And my mom at that age, she went to the woods, bawling her eyes out, crying, feeling defeated. My father wasn't there, he went to another town. Mind you, this all takes place in the refugee camp. You know, Africa, the refugee camps, you live in mud huts and everything. Like, it's just pretty bad. So my mom going into the woods crying her eyes out like that. She said she got on her knees and started praying to God, saying that I never want any of my children to experience what it's like to be motherless. She cried to her Lord, don't let my kids experience what not having a mom is like. I'm trying not to cry. I shouldn't be crying. Her first child dies. It was during the war in Somalia. It's so sad. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. And she gets pregnant again. Her second child dies in her arms. She watched both of her kids die. If that isn't a major, if that isn't the worst pain anyone could feel, just think about it. Like, you go from being an orphan and abused to getting married and abused to getting pregnant and losing your child, getting pregnant again, losing another child. It's not like she got a miscarriage. She gave birth and then lost the baby a couple of months later. Same thing, gives birth, loses the baby a couple of months later. Anyways, she ends up getting pregnant again with my big sister. So she lost 2 sons. So she ends up getting pregnant with my big sister, and I think around this time she's probably like 18 or something. And she gives birth to my sister, but my father's abuse became worse. My father abused my mom so bad. He gave her black eyes back to back. I'm not laughing. I'm crying. My father used to sell my mom's food without her permission, knowing that she got kids. And I think by this time I was already born and stuff. So my dad would do those things to her. My dad would chase her around the neighborhood with the tire thing to beat my mom. My mom would wear ripped clothes because her husband couldn't afford her anything new. My mother would go run and hide behind other men so that her husband wouldn't touch her. Everything, like everything that I'm saying is like so heartbreaking. The fact that her family, always sent her back to my dad breaks my heart because they could have both been alive. But she endured so much pain. I'm trying not to cry. It's not fair that that's the type of lifestyle that the universe intended her to go through. But she stuck beside him, and my dad was the type of guy that was like, he was very muscular, so other guys around the neighborhood were like, intimidated by him. If he is doing something to my mom, most likely nobody's going to stop him except his own uncles. But nobody else can, because he just was like that. He was just that man. So my mom used to tell him, like, fear God, fear God, fear God all the time. And I guess he was jealous or whatever. But I don't think he knew what trauma was. Because I feel like he was probably abused and traumatized himself. And my mom was very young, beautiful, light-skinned, so I feel like he was intimidated that she gets more attention than him. So he takes out his anger out on her. I wish he didn't. Because people already broke her apart. Her father's death broke her apart. She thought if she got married and had kids, her life would be better. But she didn't know that she was gonna get abused. The domestic violence was so bad. My father traumatized my mother. Not only that, he used to beat us too as kids. He used to beat us. My mom would fight for us. My mom used to beg him, like, hey, let me go work for the Somalians so I could go make some money, so we have money for food for the kids. He didn't want her to work. And then one day my mom went against all odds and she went to go work for Somalians so that she could go make money, and that's exactly what she did. Every now and then she'll go do dishes or paint homes, and wash blankets. Whatever money she gets, she buys food for us. Mind you, by this time, now the amount of kids is 3, and she's pregnant with my youngest brother. I just wish he never treated her like that. And in August 2001, my mom gives birth to my younger brother. February 2002, father passes. My father passes away. I never got to know him. I don't know what he likes to eat. I don't know how his childhood was. I knew he likes music. I knew he liked dancing. But I will never get an explanation why he did what he did to my mom. I just won't. I won't ever get an answer. Ever. But it's okay. It's alright. I'm grateful to be here, even though I don't want to be here at all, but I'm grateful to be here thanks to him, I guess. When he passed, my mom didn't even know what to do or say. She was confused. She went to go get help from the neighbors and all of that. Then she was stuck with 4 kids by herself. I'll continue in a minute.